Dillian the Body Snatcher White here. It's a champ. Big up to Sporting Icon. Subscribe. Otherwise, I might pay you guys a visit.
Now, I was watching the interview with Dillian Whyte on IFL TV, and among the many things that were discussed in that video, one thing really stood out for me, which is Dillian Whyte is saying Eddie Hearn should do the right thing for once and get him his mandatory title shot. Now, Coogan said to him, well, what is it that Eddie Hearn can do? Dillian Whyte says, well, he can do a number of things. The evidence is there. Sue the WBC. Now, the evidence is there. I don't claim to know everything or even close to anything to do with this particular case. But some things stand out for me, and I have bit my tongue on it, and I have a feeling I know where some of it has come from. But I don't know for a fact, so I can't just go accusing people. But the thing is, though, Dillian has been done dirty by the WBC. They never wanted to give him the world title shot, and they were quite content letting Deontay Wilder not fight Dillian Whyte, which is absolutely disgusting. And when Wilder and Fury announced their rematch, Fury, he wasn't mandatory, and they agreed to sign up for another fight, which of course, it does appear that Deontay Wilder will be activating. But in order for that to happen, Dillian Whyte had to be pushed out of the picture, because him defeating Oscar Rivas meant that he would get his world title shot of May this year, so only a couple of months away. So that would get in the way of part 3. So they needed something to happen with Dillian Whyte where they could use it as an excuse, even though that they had already given written confirmation that Dillian will get his world title shot. He's overdue world title shot in May. So is it coincidence that something seemed to have happened? Maybe. And the leaks and everything that were sent to Thomas Hauser, again, listen, this can only come from somewhere between UCAD and the British Boxing Board of Control, correct? Because these were the only group of people who knew anything about it, right? Now, moving on from that point, before I get myself in trouble, he's absolutely correct. Eddie Hearn should sue the WBC. But Eddie Hearn, he likes to say, yeah, the WBC haven't done right by Dillian, but then he'll counter that by saying, well, Mauricio does like a lot of good things for boxing, and the WBC this and the WBC that. What he wants to do is keep the bridges, the line of communication open for his other fighters. And it's understandable, it's business. But Dillian needs somebody like Eddie Hearn to go to bat for him. And it appears that Eddie Hearn is quite reluctant to do that. Because, as I said, he doesn't want to break any bridges or frail them between the WBC and Matchroom, because he needs the WBC so some of his other fighters can get decent rankings, fight for belts, earn more money, okay? But if Eddie Hearn actually went to bat and actually put it on the WBC and said, listen, you know what, if necessary, we will sever all ties with you, as in Matchroom will sever all ties with you, and we are going to sue you for what it is that you have done to Dillian Whyte. For not giving him the title shot. He never failed a test. People talk about the A sample, B sample. He never failed the test. That's why he was cleared to fight. That's why eventually they put out a statement saying, yes, he was totally clear of any wrongdoing. But as I said before, they needed that to happen so they could then jump straight into putting Tyson Fury as mandatory and then go, oh, actually, Dillian, we've now changed it. It doesn't matter what happened now. Even though that we've been messing you about for the longest time, you're not going to get your world title shot for February 2021. Why did they do that? For Wilder Fury Part 3. That's why they've done that. So I hope that Eddie Hearn does something. I don't think he will. I don't think he's got the minerals to do it. I don't think that he's going to go to bat for his fighters. He'd probably do it for Joshua, but he probably wouldn't do it for too many other people, and probably certainly not Dillian. That's my honest opinion on it. And I don't like saying that because I like Eddie Hearn. But the thing is that I don't think he's going to sabotage any kind of relationship with the WBC for Dillian Whyte. He ain't going to do it. While Dillian, he's owed the world title shot, and Eddie Hearn will come out and publicly say, yes, he is owed a world title shot. How much emphasis is Eddie Hearn putting on getting him that world title shot? Not enough, in my opinion. There were plenty of opportunities where he could have put Dillian in certain situations, certain fights, to have guaranteed him the world title shot long before, but he didn't do it. Namely, Dominic Brazil. As in, Eddie Hearn, he wanted to make the Derek Chisora rematch more, and it's on my channel for you guys to see. When I interviewed Eddie Hearn, and I said to him about maybe Dillian not fighting Derek Chisora rematch and fighting Brazil, because Brazil was, for some stupid reason, put in as the mandatory. It's simple. Dillian fights Brazil, Dillian then replaces. He then gets the world title shot. So Dillian would have already had his world title shot, and he would have already beaten the living crap out of Wilder by now and be champion. And he'll be looking to take on Tyson Fury himself as champion. But Eddie Hearn, he wanted to make the Derek Chisora fight. Now, I know that Eddie will probably say, yeah, but the WBC did actually eventually mandate Dillian take on Brazil. And absolutely, that's not Dillian's fault. That's not Eddie Hearn's fault that Brazil got pulled out of that fight to go fight Wilder. But the point is that Eddie Hearn had opportunity beforehand, but he was so desperate to make the Derek Chisora rematch. Why? Because it earned a lot of money. Listen, it's prize fighting ultimately, okay? And Dillian got paid a hell of a lot of money for this Derek Chisora rematch, more so than probably what he would have done fighting Dominic Brazil. So financially, Eddie's done very, very well for him. But as far as opportunity and world title goes, with the WBC, Eddie has dropped the ball with this one. I've seen it coming a long time ago, and it did exactly that. But, hey, listen, now I know people say, yeah, but Dillian, he turned down the Anthony Joshua rematch to fight, and this is why Big Baby Jarrell Miller got the fight and then changed to Andy Ruiz Jr. No, Dillian has always wanted the WBC. It's not about beating Anthony Joshua. It's not about becoming world champion. It's about getting that particular belt. Because he knew that if he gets that belt, he could then go into the Anthony Joshua rematch for undisputed. That's what he's always wanted. And he risked everything to try and do that. Anyway, Dillian Whyte says that Eddie Hearn should be doing more than what he has done. And for once, he should do the right thing. In other words, Dillian is telling Eddie, do something about it. But Eddie, he'll try and worm his way out of it. He said, but you know what? Eventually, we're going to get Tyson and Anthony Joshua, and then you'll go fight them for undisputed. And, we'll do everything we can to make sure that you're next. Even though there are, because all the belts will be there, other mandatories were called before. So Dillian's actually last in line right now. Anyway, listen, it is what it is. That's my thoughts on this whole horrible situation. WBC have done Dillian Whyte dirty, and it appears that Eddie Hearn is doing very little to nothing about it. But maybe in some reality, what can he do about it? I don't know. But he certainly can serve the WBC and say, listen, this was the original agreement. Dillian didn't fail anything, and even if he had, you needed to give time for it to be resolved. You don't just change and then replace him with Tyson Fury or anybody, because that's fundamentally wrong. He can do something about it, but he won't. Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, subscribe, catch you all on the next video.